What an end to the game. Were Everton robbed by VAR? Man United come back from 2-0 down to grab a massive point in the context of our season. We want your thoughts. We want your opinions. Hit the like and the share button. It's the Full Fan Highlight Show. Let's go! Shit. 1, 2. Can you guys hear me? I don't know. I can't hear anything. Let me know if you can hear me coming through on the microphone. You can hear me, yeah, KJ? Yeah, cool. I had a problem with my mixer there. Listen, we've got to jump straight into this. Sorry about the intro there. My mixer wasn't giving me any sound, so I didn't know if anything was coming through. But look, massive controversy at the end. Lots to talk about in this game. Wow. But also the comeback as well. Sorry, I was thrown a little bit there by my mixer not playing the noise of the intro music. But let's jump straight into the penalty decision. I know that's what everybody wants to focus on straight away. Was there a pull by De Ligt? The answer is yes, there was. He pulls on his shirt. He pulls on his arm slightly. There was. Was it a penalty, though? I think most people that don't like Manchester United will say yes. In my personal opinion, pulling on someone in that scenario should be a penalty. I wanted a penalty earlier on in the game when Maguire was pulled very fleetingly by his shirt, and it was not given. The problem we have in this debate is that all season long, fleeting pulls in the box have not been given as fouls. What they deem a fleeting pull is when you pull an arm, you pull a shirt, you pull the shorts for a split second or two before releasing. That I was a little bit surprised that the commentators, I was a little bit surprised that the pundits after the game weren't mentioning the fleeting pull element. I've called it out all year. I've said that it's a ridiculous rule. I've stated that those pulls should be penalties. So I'm not going to change my stance now. That should be a penalty. However, we have been asking the VAR, we've been asking the PGMOL to be consistent. They can't not give penalties for fleeting pulls all season and start today. So in terms of the context of a rule, a precedent that they have set, I understand why it was overturned. However, I've called it out all season. I have the same energy today. That is a foul. The same as on Maguire earlier on in that half. You pull a player to stop them running so they can't get to the ball. It should be given a foul, as it is on every other single part of the football pitch. So I understand completely and utterly why Everton fans are angry. I don't think what helps Ashley Young in this scenario is the way he dives, because no matter how hard you're pulled, it doesn't make your legs buckle from underneath you, unless it's your legs that are being pulled out like you're a wheelbarrow. So that probably hasn't helped Everton in that regard. However, I understand the calls. I understand the frustration. I don't like this rule. I think it's ridiculous. When you pull like that, it should be deemed a foul. However, the PGMOL, VAR, the referees have set a precedent this year. They've set a precedent that fleeting pulls, and I know when you hear me say that word, it is going to trigger rivals. But you know what I'm saying is the God's honest truth. Go back and watch previous games where fleeting pulls haven't been given as fouls. I've called them out. I'm calling this one out. But that is simply why it wasn't given. So I get the frustration from Everton fans. I really, really do. The other controversy, Everton fans were booing and calling cheats when Man United's free kick for our first goal was moved further forward. That was a stonewall handball. So there's no controversy surrounding that whatsoever. Everything else today, I think the referee got pretty much spot on. I really do. I don't even think the referee made a mistake with the penalty. I think he's gone by the letter of the law. It's a stupid law. It must be changed, but you can't change it until the end of the season. Otherwise, you create an imbalance and damage the integrity further throughout the course of this campaign. So were Everton robbed? By the letter of the law, no. But I understand why people are going to claim that in every single way, shape, or form. David here says, every defender, please pull your opponents. Forget about tackling, just pull. And David, you're right. And this is something I've called out all season. Again, maybe people only care today because Man United have benefited. But also, I remember, I think it was Van Dijk pulled on a player. It might have even been against Southampton when he goes up for a header and he pulls on his arm. And they just said, no, it was fleeting. It happened in a West Ham game. I think West Ham, Chelsea. And I think a Chelsea player pulled on the shirt of a West Ham player in the box earlier on this season. And they said, no foul, fleeting. The only thing that's disappointing was to hear no commentator, no pundit on BT Sport or TNT Sport mention that. I think that's very disingenuous to the audience. However, it's a law that must be changed because what Tarkowski did, I think it was Tarkowski did to Maguire, and what we did at the end to Young, you shouldn't be allowed to do in the game. You absolutely should not be allowed to do in the game. And yes, I know I'm correct on it. I know I'm correct. And we don't need a poll. We all know it's a fleeting poll, therefore this season no pen. But we all know that it's a stupid rule. We all agree with each other on this. So I don't think we need a poll. Everybody is in full agreement. You're speaking out of both ends of your mouth, both sides of your mouth. Call it what it is, please. I told you what it is, Mike. Terrible rule. All season I've called it out and questioned it. Go back and look at those match reactions. It's there. However, it would be ridiculous today to not follow the precedent and the rule that they've set all season. Imagine that. Imagine, I don't know who you support, Mike, but imagine all season they have said accidental handballs with your hands by your sides are not handballs. And then just randomly tomorrow, they give that. It happens to Trent Alexander-Arnold and they give a penalty to City. That's outrageous. You can't just change it for a singular game. But I agree with you completely. The rule is bad. I've called it out all year. Simple and as straightforward as that. The pull was not strong enough to bring a little girl to the ground. Baz, that's where I also agree with you. I think on the replay, with the way Young has thrown himself, it's made it look, I think it's worked in Man United's favour because no pull on the shirt can make your legs do that. So he hasn't helped himself in that regard whatsoever. Not whatsoever at all. Liverpool get that. No, I don't think they do. All season, they haven't given these penalties, my friend. So I don't quite know where that is coming from. We'll come back to some more on that later. What about the game today? Because I don't want to ignore the game, especially from a Man United perspective, because we were very, very poor in that first half today. And that cannot be forgotten about in any way, shape, or form. And the players on the pitch, I thought, were shocking. Absolutely shocking for large parts of that game. I really, really do. There was no energy. There was a stat that came up on the 55th minute of the game, 53rd minute of the game. And this sent me over the edge. They had pressed us 133 times. We'd only pressed them 81 times at that point. We were not getting to the second balls. We were lethargic. There was no energy in the middle. And we were played off the park. You look at the second goal, especially we conceded. The ball's worked into the box very well. It shot. I didn't actually think Onana made that bad a save with the sun in his eyes. Maguire standing there waiting for the ball to land on his head. And Decore just jumps over him, bang, 2-0. That lack of desire, that lack of work rate, that lack of energy from Manchester United was absolutely ruining me. Part of that was, I think, Amorim got the starting lineup wrong. We needed more energy on the pitch. The subs in the second half gave us that energy and more control. Not as much control as we need. But the lack of energy, the lack of work rate, the lack of desire from that Man United team for 55, 60 minutes of that game was absolutely unacceptable. It really was. And Everton played well. They were aggressive. They pressed hard. And they just wanted it more than us. And I know people hate that type of analysis. I know people hate, oh, they just wanted it more. What do you mean? There's a reason they were winning the majority of the second balls. There was a reason that we were pressured when we were in possession because they were just working. Where I will praise the team is when Ruben started making his changes. Bruno dropped back into the midfield and we could control the ball a little bit better. He was losing it less in better situations. We bring on young Obi. And I think he looked a bit nervous. I thought his first touch was really off. The ball was bouncing off him a bit. But it gave us a focal point. It was going to run off the shoulder, which then created a bit more space for Xerxes. It wasn't both number 9s that are on the pitch dropping deep. So Xerxes started to come more into his own at that point. Garnacho came on and just had energy, and him and Dorgu on the left-hand side caused problem after problem after problem. And that extra energy, that extra pace, enabled us to press better, enabled us to win those second balls. Garnacho wins a clear free kick for the first goal. It was a handball from Decore. There's no arguments there. And Bruno was brilliant to put that away. Absolutely fantastic bottom corner. And then you saw the mood and the ascendancy change. And this is why when people talk about it's the formation, formation is the least of my worries. We are by and large a work-shy team. As soon as we got a goal and there's suddenly a bit of adrenaline pumping through us, suddenly everyone's pressing harder. Everton are then sitting back. They're feeling a little bit nervous. We put it on them. We keep the pressure going. We get the equalizer. Good ball into the box. Only half cleared. Great control on the chest by Ugarte. A wonderful volley finish into the back of the net. And then it became anybody's. And Man United had chance after chance to maybe win it. We're a little bit unlucky. Maybe lacked a little bit of quality still at the final third. But when it went to 2-2, I would take that. Genuinely at 2-2, it's like, listen, sitting here watching it with my brother, and I'm saying, I'll take that draw right now. I'll take the point. It's a point closer to safety. We've got a massive 6-pointer midweek with Ipswich. We'll take it. Then we had some chances. Beto had a brilliant header, which if he directs it either side of Onana, it could be a goal. Obviously, we've already spoke for about 7 or 8 minutes about the penalty. Then the penalty incident. Then United got up the other end and almost get the winner as well. I could have watched, if I was a neutral, I could have watched that last 20 minutes again and again and again. I thought it was fantastically entertaining. As a United fan, though, my nerves were absolutely shredded. But I thought we would lose today. So I'm going to take the point and be happy with that in the context of where we sit right now. Some massive food for thought when it comes to the manager. He needs to pick teams with more legs in it. You can't go away from home with that midfield. You just can't do it. There needs to be more speed. I know Garnacho isn't everybody's cup of tea and he missed chances last week, but we need someone who can pick the ball up and really drive at a fullback and try and pin them back. We didn't get that with the front three that was picked today. So that's a really big learn for the manager. There's no doubt. But my biggest feedback to the players today is you've got to work harder. You've got to run more. You've got to press. You've got to be more aggressive because that first 50, 60 minutes was unacceptable. It was embarrassing at every single level. However, we walk away with a point. I'll take that as it stands right now. Ipswich at home midweek. You would expect us to win that game. There's no foregone conclusion with Man United. Go and pick up those 3 points if possible. Pull ourselves, just want to get out of these conversations about relegation. Just create a big enough buffer that's needed. And then we start focusing more on the cup competitions. But entertaining game. Well done to United for coming back. Loads of question marks about the build-up to that point. And of course, I want to get your opinions in the comment section on the disallowed penalty to Everton. I'll state it again before I go to the super chats. I think, and I've said all season, those fouls should be penalties. However, they have told us all year that fleeting pulls are not fouls in the box. So therefore, I was not surprised when it was overturned. But that law has to be changed. What you can't do, though, is demand that change in the middle of a game. I know you all want Man United to lose, but I hear you. Let's jump into these super chats here before Mo and KJ join me on the show. Let's do these. I'm going to timestamp them here. I want to know if I'm going to hear anyone when they come on. Maybe it's because I was cleaning this earlier. Is that why I couldn't hear anything? Maybe. I don't know. I can hear things now. I'll see when they come on if I can hear. And the Academy Award goes to Ashley Young. All jokes aside, I can see why Amorim is getting more grey every week. No consistency. I hear you. But isn't it crazy that in the space of a couple of weeks, we've had a few games where we've won or drawn, where we're losing. We score a goal and we look a different team. Can't be the system then, can it? For me, logically speaking, that doesn't really make any sense. Bruno in central midfield made a difference. Onana, a-hole, get him out. How many times this season has he punched the ball back into play, costing us the game? For the penalty moment, I absolutely agree with you. I didn't think he could do much about the first shot. Sun in his eyes, ball blasted at him. He just gets a hand to it. Maguire should clear it, but I certainly hear you on the second one. Didn't care who won, but to say the officials are not corrupt for overturning of something that was not clear and obvious would be a joke. This is the thing about clear and obvious, and I know that people that hate Man United will pretend I'm not being objective, but I am. Said it all year. Said it. Go watch my video Wednesday or Thursday about the Lewis Kelly situation. And I said it in that, and I'll say it now. We have no idea what clear and obvious means. We don't know what it. We all think we know what it means, but they've never told us. I'll give you an example. For me, it's clear and obvious if the referee says, "Yeah, I thought it was a long and hard pull," and the VAR said, "No, it was fleeting." Based on the precedent they've set, that makes it clear and obvious. One thinks it's long and hard, pause. The other one thinks it's fleeting, but we don't know because we don't hear anything. Having said that, with the Lewis Skelly one, when we listen to the footage back, they literally are like, yeah, it glanced the shin and it glanced the calf, which based on the law of the game means it isn't serious foul play. Yet they still said, stick with the on-field decision. That was the clear and obvious error, and they didn't spot it. So I totally hear what you're saying, but nobody knows what it means anyway. And what I mean, you've got your own definition, but we don't know whether that matches the PGMOL. So that I agree with wholeheartedly. Didn't show the camera near the net. It shows Delit pull on Young. It's a penalty. VAR didn't help the ref enough. He pulls on him. But what you're missing out on here is how long was that pull for? Count how long it was for. All season, any pulls have been between a second or two. And I've got to think, 2 seconds is 1, 2. It couldn't have been that long. If it's any longer than that, they've been giving them. Anything shorter, they've said it's fleeting. So we've got to wait till we hear the footage. I've got a feeling you'll hear the word fleeting in that footage. Xerxes, fucking shoot, fuming decision-making. He became a better player when Rasmus went off. But yeah, I do agree with you. There was that great bit of play from Garnacho and the run from Dorgu. Cheeto made a really good run. It goes out to Xerxes, and I'm thinking, I think you've got to hit that with your laces, full blast at the far post. Might go in, might ricochet out. Who knows? Might deflect and go in. But he kind of did a nothing. It weren't really a good cross. It wasn't a shot. I agree. I was watching the game on Octopus Sports, and the commentator said that Young was common for diving. These things do go against you as well. I'm a Man United fan. I've seen Young get fouled when VAR didn't exist, and it not be given because of VAR. Not be given because of his reputation. Everybody crying about the pull. What about the handball? But anyway, look, respect the boys for the fight back, but it's the same shit, giving up silly Sunday League goals outside. I like Dorgu, good player. This is what I'd also say about the system being the issue. Isn't it funny that the one player that looked bright in that first half, very good maybe, was Dorgu, who hasn't been corrupted by the problems at the football club? I'll tell you what. Gunner's ready to blame everything on PGMOL and Liverpool. As a neutral, I disagree with you. That's not a penalty. The pull wasn't enough to take him down. I agree with that. Where I still think again, this is where I want to try and be consistent, Blue National TV, is this. I don't think you should have to go down for it to be a foul. So when Maguire is looking to go through for that ball, ironically, the commentator said not enough for a penalty when I don't think the pull is any fucking worse, right? I'll call them out for that. Maguire's ahead of the defender. He literally pulls on him for a split second to stop the acceleration and then lets go. That's a foul, and it always should be. However, if they've decided to not give them because they're fleeting, you can't give them to anybody ever. That's the way I look at it. You said United had chance after chance after it went 2-2. I can't think of a single chance. You're thinking about the shots on goal. And you're right. Let me rephrase what I said, Charles. Opportunities. We had a number of opportunities after it went 2-2, where if the final ball's correct, we should be getting shots off and testing the goalkeeper. There was also the header from point blank range from Xerxes, which I think hits Tarkowski in the face, Branthwaite in the face. There's nothing about it. That was going in. I meant opportunities rather than chances, so I stand corrected. We are 15th, and everybody is triggered by us. Aura. Yeah, look, people will just talk out of both sides of their mouths. People are going to pretend they haven't heard the word fleeting all season. They're just liars. And Mo is right. United runs on adrenaline. Yeah, which means it's about, but that's people working on adrenaline because they lack the work rate needed to be at the top every single game. It's just simple and straightforward as that. That's what, when I talk about hard work at Man United, it's doing it every day. People can't. Cheeto did more than Rasmus did. Stay in first team. Do you know what I say about Cheeto? What he did was great. Some of his first touches were really poor and he looked nervous, and I understand it. It's not the ideal situation to bring him onto. 2-0 down against Everton, raucous crowd. Terrible situation to bring him into. But do you know what he did great? Go back and watch the game. Look at his runs. When Xerxes gets played in by Garnacho and Xerxes to shoot, look where Cheeto is. He's ready. The correct runs. His running and movement help the rest of the attack. It's what freed space up for Garnacho to cut into it 3 times. It's what gave room to Dorgu when the ball was flicked out to that left-hand side and he's cut back. Again, he got pulled back and could have gone down, but he didn't. He stayed on his feet. He was honest. He didn't dive. So, yeah, I was very impressed with the young man. Great 2 goals from United came from the Amorim system. Well, if the system is responsible for everything that's bad, if you're someone that has a brain, by that logic, everything good has to also come from the system. We know that both those statements are not true in their entirety. Time for KJ and Mo to give us their thoughts on this game. Welcome to the show, gents. I'm going to go to Mo first of all. I want to ask both of you about the penalty to begin with. Was it a penalty or were the VAR right to overturn it based on the fleeting rule that's been out all year?
Absolutely. It's a dive. It's a dive. It's 100% a dive. If the referee gets a good look, and that's what VAR is there for, to just see if it's a dive or not, and it's clearly a dive. Ashley Young is a cheat, and he's always been a cheat, even though he played for my club. He's always been a cheat, even when he played for Man United. He goes on hard. By the way, Ashley Young should have had a red card. He had a foul that is worthy of a yellow card on halfway line on Dorgo, and then he had another one on Dorgo on Garnacho, who should have had another yellow card, and the referee was lenient with him. He was definitely should not have been on the pitch, and the referee should have went back and give him another yellow card. And by the way, I'm just going to say this again. We have seen this before when the referee goes to VAR. He had the authority to go back and give a yellow card. Ashley Young should have had a second yellow for that dive. It's a clear dive on a very minimal pull. We have seen this pull every game, and we have seen it in every corner. We have seen it in every play. Every tumble in the 18 is not a penalty. He literally dives for this one. If it's given against my team, I would absolutely be fuming. Yes, Maguire put his hand on him. Yes, De Ligt maybe took the shot, but he really dived about a second later, and it should have been a second yellow, and he should have been sent off. That is my opinion on the penalty.
Mate, listen, I appreciate your honesty on that, and I weren't even focused on the dive. I think the dive is what absolutely makes the referee's mind up.
Thank you.
But KJ, I want to ask you about it. Whether or not you think it should be for a pull or not, because I'm very clear that I think those pulls are fouls because you delay a player. Why do you think everybody is forgetting about the precedent that's been set all year about the fleeting pulls, where we have seen all season commentators, pundits, journalists, Howard Webb say fleeting pulls will not be given? Why are we all suddenly forgetting that that's the biggest reason for this not being awarded today? You're on mute, bro.
Personally, I think it's when's the last time we've seen a fleeting pull come into conversation as a reason why someone didn't get a decision? I think what people tend to do is forget what happens in the season depending on what's going on. You know, I think it's been too long since a fleeting pull has been an issue, so people forget that it's been said. And now it's like, wait, when has this ever happened before? Well, it happened against West Ham and Chelsea towards the start of the season. It's been happening throughout the season. So yeah, we just forget the rules as fans because we just want what we want in the moment, you know, and we don't really think about the actual agenda that they've been set the entire season, especially depending on who it's against. Like if that was Man United, let's flip the script. If that's Man United, I guarantee everyone says dive. That's all I know.
Bruno Fernandes. Just think about it. If it's Bruno Fernandes.
Yeah, if that's Bruno in the box getting a little tug, and he goes over like that, people saying it's a dive and not a pen. Because again, because it's for Man United, we want to chat about saying it's corruption and that. It is. I will say this though, VAR should have showed him the other angle. So then, if the referee says it's a pen or not a pen, no one can complain about VAR. They gave him all the information to reassess his decision. He then chose his decision, and then we move on with the game because that's what VAR was supposed to be for, right? So yeah.
Well, on that though, Tom Darby here. So on that, Tom Darby here says, "No, Terry, you're wrong because it wasn't a clear and obvious error." The problem is here, and even with what you're saying, KJ, to an extent, is how can any of us make that assertion? We don't know what they've been because we're not privy right now to what was said. How do we know whether it was a clear and obvious error? Or you don't know, Tom, whether there was or wasn't a clear and obvious error because we don't know what they've told the ref and what the ref said back. We have absolutely no idea. And this is the problem with people is they normally, this is what's crazy. When I come on here and say Arsenal have been robbed, or I do a show where I say Liverpool have been robbed, nah, you're simping. Suddenly now, everyone's like, nah. Suddenly now, everyone's sort of having the opposite view. I've been saying it all fucking year. We have no idea what a clear and obvious error is because they don't tell us. So for me, maybe they'll say, actually, it was a slight pull, but maybe it was a dive that made all the difference. And the referee said, yeah, in real time, I didn't think it was a dive. I thought it was a harder pull. Well, that would make it, for me, if someone says, I thought the pull was so significant and powerful, it made the player lose his footing, then you watch it back and you see it's literally this, and then he throws his legs back. That's a clear and obvious error. But Tom, you can't say whether it was or wasn't, nor can I. And as a certainty until we hear what's going on. So it's a crazy thing to say. What we do know is that because it was Man United that benefited, suddenly blaming referees is going to become fashionable. Where normally what we're told, it's about why am I not seeing in the comments from you guys? I'm keeping the same energy, by the way. I think these should all be fouls. Why are we not seeing in the comments Everton have got to take accountability? Everton threw away a 2-0 lead. Talk about their performance. Talk about their accountability. Where has that gone? Funny that, isn't it? Speaking of accountability in performances, KJ, United were 2-0 down. Poor first half, but we came back into the game. What do you think the difference was that helped United take a sort of create a bit of a cornerstone in the match and come back the way we did?
I've said it before, and I think many people have mentioned it. AG, Rhino, like yourself, everyone's mentioned it before. Being Man United, it's literally just confidence. We score a goal, and apparently we can play football. Apparently we can keep the ball, we can pin a team back, and go on and score goals. And that's the frustrating thing about Man United. Where was that last part of the game? Just do that at the start of the game. Then no one's going to complain then. No one can complain if you're playing like that. You're playing, you've got your foot on the ball, you're passing it around, you're making passes, making opportunities. No one can complain then if the opposite team score, because you know what, sometimes you do everything and the team just do something better than you. That's fine. But countless times we've seen halves like we saw in that first half, and then we somehow get a goal, great free kick from Bruno, and apparently the lights turn on. Someone's at home and they can start playing football again. And this team needs to sort that out. I don't know what Ruben Amorim has to do that. They went on team bonding like the week just gone. They went out together to have fun. They've been training together all week. So I don't know what this manager has to do in the game when they're playing to make them believe that they can do what they're doing. I don't know.
Yeah, no, listen, I do agree with you. As you say, it's this element of as soon as we scored, there was adrenaline pumps through them. They're winning their tackles. They're winning their second balls. They're passing and moving the ball well. For me, this is when I talk about it for years. I know we need to increase the ceiling of the floor, even of the technical ability in the team, but the lack of work rate, the lack of desire, and I think a lot of that stems some of it's laziness, some of it's players that know maybe they don't have a future. I think so much of it is a lack of belief that they have in themselves. And yeah, how you turn that around so quickly, I don't quite know. This here from Jay, he says, Terry, Everton have more than quadrupled your XG today. You have no logically ruled out the problem is the system issue. That's clearly pure cope.
It's not pure cope because look at the goals today. You're telling me it's a system issue that Maguire can't head a ball before another opposition player? You're telling me it's a system issue that Man United can't clear the football after winning the ball after a corner? You're going,
I'm going to explain to you. I'm going to explain to you. Go ahead. Finish your point. Finish your point.
You can say maybe how the opposition teams get to build up on United. That's a system issue. You can say how we build up from the back is a system issue because I feel like it is actually too easy to press and it puts us in danger. I can have that conversation. But when we look at the game as a whole, you look at the goals we conceded, it wasn't because we got cut through. It's because our players had lacked mentality, lacked responsibility, and sliced the ball when clearing, being lackadaisical on the ball, lackadaisical when defending. Because Terry, how many goals have we conceded from defenders watching the rebound and being like, oh, oh, offside. Oh no, we've lost the ball out again. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, go on, Mo. What's your response to that?
Okay. So just to respond to this, yes, Maguire was slow. Yes, Onana slow. But if you look at this goal, KJ, the team is standing wrong. There was so much space behind. The line was wrong. There was no offside created. Maguire stepped up and no one else stepped up with them. That is a system. That is a training ground issue.
Surely that's
that's a training ground. That's a training ground thing. When you have the line not straight and one of the players step up and the other ones, that's called a system. That's called training. That's called practice. That is called cohesive. That comes from the training ground. You see when Aston Villa step up and they are the team that you get my point, right? That's come from Unai Emery. That's not the players though. That is Unai Emery keep training and practicing that offside line. In that second goal, you looked at the last phase of that goal, but you never looked at the first one where the guy was running 2-on-1. That is because the midfield is not standing right. The defense is not standing right. Harrison was inside, and where was Mazraoui on the other side of Harrison? Yeah. That is what I call a system issue.
So I understand that, but also the reason why for that second goal we will call out is Bruno rushes a pass into Rasmus, who hadn't made the run early enough. The ball is then also overhit, so we lose possession. But as we've played that ball forward, we're trying to attack. And what we need so our fullback push forward, people have stepped into attacking positions, and then Bruno rushes the pass and we lose possession. So then we're out of shape. What I think would be ridiculous analysis is to act like when you're caught out, when you lose possession, when you're in the middle of an attacking phase, that you're then at that exact moment with one quick ball being played in behind, you're all going to be in the perfect defensive shape as well. But I do hear where you're coming from. We need to improve. But I feel that these improvements come with better players or better players for the system. And so I think there is some criticism on the manager. At the same time, this is a massive player issue for me in a lot of this, which people want to ignore. You think about the second goal, it got to the goalie, it was saved. Maguire just standing there looking at it to land as an example. It's no awareness of what's around him. No awareness whatsoever. Because what he would have got away with, because defenders do, is if he'd have looked and seen Decore coming, all he's got to do is step back, stick his body and arse into him so that he can't get over it, and then the ball gets picked up by the goalkeeper. These little mistakes also don't help us. You know, yes, and they created some chances, some good balls into the box towards the end of the game, which helped their XG. But most of their XG to that super chat came in the first half. They had 0.53. That's because both their goals were basic tap-ins from where they are. And we've criticized that as an example. But for me, we need such better players in this system.
Can I have say just about this?
Yeah. I'm
sorry, guys. Okay, so I was watching the Arabic commentators and the people that speak Arabic that watch us. You guys, this was so different that the Arabic commentators were being sports than the English ones and the Spanish ones. They call it as they see it. They don't have this what you guys call the professionalism and like being neutral and stuff. So Hafiz Daraghi, if you guys don't know, is one of the biggest commentators in the Arab world, in the whole MENA region. Mm-hmm. He was saying that when I'm watching Man Utd, especially in the first 55 minutes, the 60 minutes that Terry mentioned, and I want Man Utd fans to hear that. It's very important. He's saying, how can Man Utd be standing on the pitch, not knowing how to pass, how to attack, how to defend, why there is not even one attempt. Now, I'm not saying on target, one attempt for 40 minutes in that first half. And he was saying, I'm watching Amarim and I see, what's his name, Ten Hag with hair. He's like, there has to be something to be done about this. That's not my word. The people that watch the Arabic content know exactly what I'm talking about. Let me, go ahead.
Okay, go on. No, I hear your point.
The last point of it. And I'm like, if Man Utd are 2-0 down, with all due respect to Everton Football Club and David Moyes, I cannot wait until minute 70 for the adrenaline rush for Man Utd to start playing football. Once Man Utd go 1-0 down against whatever team in the bottom half, I'm not saying Man City or Arsenal or Liverpool, I'm expecting Man Utd to be at least trying to press, trying to get the ball, have energy.
So I agree. So I agree, right? I agree with what I want. I just think we're looking at a different person to blame. I don't think the manager isn't asking them to and coaching them to and telling them to. I think there's a reluctancy. And I think I'm not going to say that every player is suffering with the same issue because that would be ridiculous. I look at Delo as an example. Now that his job is to defend and to attack like he's a winger, this is someone that when he was a fullback who got involved with the attack every now and then, it was a different type of pressure. I don't think he's handled the pressure of his role and responsibility in this system well enough as an example. So I think his lack of ability to handle the pressure has done for him. I look at Cass, who's playing today more so due to injury. I think his body doesn't allow him to do it, as an example. I think someone like Rasmus is just completely lacking any sense of confidence in his overall game whatsoever, as an example. I think there are players out there that know I'm maybe coming to the end of my time at the football club. Onana, I know he's made mistakes before, but I think he knows my time's cooked. So I think there's an element here, whether it's subconscious or not. I think there's all these little things, which is why it was going to take a long time to fix us. The reason why I'm not going to turn completely on the manager, I'll offer criticism, but I won't turn on him, is this. Everything we're saying now about what our players should be doing, we've said it about all the previous managers. And I feel the one thing we haven't done is create a style of football or pick a style of football, build a complete squad that is suited to that style of football, and then seeing how it looks. We do what we're doing now, but it's just come earlier because of the way that the squad has almost rejected this way of playing, whether it's on purpose or not, is that we're already going, right, it has to be the manager. And I'm not saying the manager doesn't make mistakes. I'm not saying that he shouldn't be criticized. But for me, going 7th time on the bounce, it's not the players again. I don't know. I think it's the fact we've got a Frankenstein squad and all of these issues. But I do get the point that you raised. Another super chat here I want to go to says, point is equally silly to rule out major issues with Amarim's system. Ineos, as it is, write them off at this stage. Delusion goes both ways. This is the thing. I said this last week. We have seen, without the right quality of player, have we not all seen Pep's system be exposed week in, week out this season?
Yep.
Yeah. So there we go. The greatest manager of your generation system has flaws when the quality of personnel isn't at the highest standard. And that, for me, is fairly typical in the modern day game. So from my perspective, I know there's flaws in the game. There's holes in the system. Of course there is. I don't think you fix them by him changing. What you do is you build a squad that covers those flaws and accelerates the quality. And I'll give you an example away from this sport. I remember watching a documentary about Tiger Woods. When Tiger Woods was younger, his dad wanted him to do extra work and training on getting out of bunkers because he struggled with it. And what Tiger Woods, he was kind of talking about what he did. And he was doing all this extra training and he wasn't really getting that much better at getting out of bunkers. But what he was amazing at for his age, he was maybe the best in the world at that point of hitting it so straight on the fairway that he rarely went in a bunker. And his word to his coaches, which they went with, was, well, let's just stop the working on getting out of bunkers. I'll just work on making my drive even better so I don't fucking land in bunkers. And that resonated with me when I watched it, because I just thought, sometimes that's what you've got to do. These are our flaws. Okay, well, let's work on our strengths and make them so strong that it covers up the flaws in the team. That's what I think happens in a lot of these systems. You take away the players. Like, we know how good Arsenal are defensively. Take away their two best centre-backs. Are they? It's suddenly, is it the system or is it the lack of quality in the system? I think it's more the quality.
And on the quality, I just need to raise one player up today, because I feel like he's had a resurgence of backing over the last few weeks, and I just think we need to stop doing it. Is Harry Maguire. Yes, I understand. A few weeks ago, he had a good few run of games. I've been like, yes, renew the contract, keep him. Like he should be here for the rebuild. No, time and time again, this season, the season before that, he will do costly things like ball watch, like get outstrengthed by defenders, like being slow to react. And I'm sorry, you can't coach being quick. You can't coach not ball watching. That is something innate in him at 31, 32 years old. His contract is up at the end of the summer. Let it go. Don't renew. Yeah. And I know maybe for PSR reasons they're thinking about it. I'd rather take the risk and let a younger centre-back play or buy a new centre-back, because him, alongside De Ligt, who didn't have his best game today either, he was also dreadful, in a back three is just not going to work. And to build for Man United, we need to raise that ceiling. And Harry Maguire, as for much that he can do well in a back three, we need to move past him.
I got a question for both of you. I got a question for Terry before I know that you got to go watch out. But this is very important for the Man United fans. If you do shows and you talk about the financial situation at Man United and you keep saying that the players need to go, but the financial power is not there to do an overhaul soon enough. Shouldn't Amorim adapt at least to not have Man United at 15?
What do you mean by that? Expand
Because
that question more for me.
okay, so the context is, if you have the financial power and if you are about to do what Chelsea did, which is basically get like 9-10 players in one window and completely overhaul the squad in one summer or 2 windows, I would say yes, he should stick to the system until he gets the players. But if you don't have the financial power, and I listen to your shows, you talk about the debt, you talk about Ineos, you talk about you have to sell to buy and all this stuff. If you have to do this, shouldn't he at least try to get results so the players' value go up so you can replace them with better players?
I hear your point there, but when you say adapt, I don't think he should change. How much of an adaptation are you talking about?
I don't know. Like get results, like something. He needs to do something to get results, right?
Yeah, maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. I don't know.
Terry asked.
I don't know whether he does or he doesn't. I don't know whether or not they're going to sack him if he remains 15th for the rest of the season. If they've told him, as long as we don't get relegated, you stay, then no, he doesn't need to get results. So I'm being honest. So but the difference is this, right? If we come, people have said to me before, if you come 2nd or 8th, there's no difference. You didn't win the league. Okay, hear me out. 2nd or 8th, same thing. You didn't win the league. If we come 17th or 12th, genuinely, what is the difference in your opinion?
I think it's just a lack of confidence. The players' value go down.
Okay, but I don't think the players' value does go down. We're just seeing I just don't think the players' value will go down, if I'm being honest with you. We've seen what players have done when they leave Man United. That isn't a concern for me. Yes, I want us to get results, okay? Equally, though, I don't want us to do what Chelsea did and go and buy 8 or 9 players in the summer. I actually think I just don't think that works very well. I think what you actually need to do is go out and buy 5 or 6 maximum top-level players. 1-0 Tottenham, by the way. I didn't know they were playing at 3 o'clock today. 1-0 Tottenham, Brendan Johnson. So for me, I understand that question, but I don't have an answer for it. We will see.
The reason why I'm saying this before, go ahead.
I just don't have an answer. So I understand the logic that yes, he needs to get results. At the same time, I'm standing by what I've said. I'm not yielding. I want us to build a philosophy. I want to play the way we're meant to play, win, lose, or draw until this squad is complete. I'm standing by that. I
disagree with you, by the way.
The reason why I don't, and when I say the system, we will, when we're away against a hard team soon, we'll play differently. We'll be more defensive. So I see that as adapting. I just don't want to, whatever his principles are, I don't want him to give them up. The same way we heard Ten Hag say, I will never be able to play or never create a team that looked like my Ajax team. I don't want to hear that from this manager. I don't mind us being more defensive when we play Arsenal in a couple of weeks and then more attacking when we're at home against Ipswich. That for me is the adaptation at the level I like. What I don't want is for the manager to suddenly go, I'm going to go 4-3-3 and we're going to play counter-attack football only and we're just going to coach that until the squad's built. That for me is stupid.
Yeah.
It's fouled 8 times before.
I agree with that point. In terms of the long-term plan of Man United, if we are going to be slowly building the team, which I don't agree with personally, then doing this whole, we'll play defensive for 3 years and then when the squad's built, then start to transition into this is counterproductive because Amorim will get sacked because you don't teach that anyway. That's not his game. That's not the system that he's brought up with. So there's no point of building that just to.
Mo, I want you to fake your personality on my shows until we hit 1 million subs. Then I want you to be the real Mo.
Why are you saying that?
Because that's
the example of
that's how stupid it would be. I want you to be a fake Mo until we hit the right amount of subs so that your real personality can get the biggest impact possible. It would never work. to get to that point, you need to implement what you are. I do find the logic of yielding on your I know we're obsessed nowadays with style of play, but even Sir Alex Ferguson, imagine Sir Alex Ferguson went into Man United in 1985, 1986, and they were like, right, we know you want to manage X, manage Y, manage B. We know you want to play X, play Y, play B, but we want you to do none of that until we've completely fixed the club. Part of fixing the club is implementing those processes, those standards. I think one of the reasons why you see a lot of our players lackadaisical as well is I don't think they like the hard work they've got to do. A lot of our Man United players like to work hard when the cameras are watching. So away at Arsenal in the FA Cup, when the world's watching, when they're playing City away, they turn up. We then play in a smaller club, and I mean at home, and the energy levels ain't there. That's something that I don't want the manager to yield on punishing players for not giving their all week in, week out. That would be crazy to yield on that kind of thing. Because we've got to end the show soon. I want to do a few more super chats here. What I don't understand is why clubs change managers so much. And when a new manager gets a club in the middle of the season, they criticize him when he's trying to get through the rest of the campaign.
It's because we've been cursed with this thing called new manager bounce, and every club / fan base expects it to happen every single time you get a new manager. Bounce will be fine. And then when that doesn't happen, it's clearly it's his fault, because why haven't we had a bounce yet? Sometimes it's not that. Sometimes after years of neglect, no matter what manager comes in, even if you do have a bounce, it's not setting you up for the future. Look how many times Wigan, Sunderland, flipping West Brom, all these teams have new manager bounces. Where are they now? Not in the Premier League. You know what I'm saying? So we need to sometimes hold it.
I hear that. Amarim thinks the EPL is Casapia. I don't even know what that means.
Estroli every week. So he's trying to say that he thinks it's the Portuguese league with all these crap teams every week and do whatever he wants.
Okay, but you got the thing is as well, everyone's made their minds up. I'm gonna wait. My judgment is really gonna come into play when his squad's built. I'm just gonna try my best to do it that way around this time. I wonder why people won't say Garnacho being kicked from behind and a goal kick being given seconds later before it's a pen, but a soft pull on the shirt.
No, Stephen, you're completely wrong. Idrissa Gana Gueye cleared the ball off Garnacho's foot. Right call, goal kick. What are you watching,
it was a goal kick, to be fair.
What are you watching, Stephen? They're just clutching into anything, bro.
What's really interesting, though, when Dorgu was caught running through, if Dorgu goes down, everybody says soft penalty. And this is the one thing I would say. A lot of people have been hypocrites on this show. People will say I had been, because I'm not saying Everton were robbed. I'm stating that I think those things are fouls, but I'm just going by the fleeting calls. And I get what you said, KJ, about how there hasn't been one for a while, but I haven't seen any press release saying they've dropped that protocol. So I understand it. And I think that's what we'll hear from the referee.
Yes, Stephen, I'm answering you because you're commenting again. It was a goal kick. Even KJ agrees it was off Garnacho's foot.
I don't think that was a foul. No, I'm back in Amarim because it's not the system. He needs to get his players in. Ugarte and Dorgu are playing well in this system.
Don't forget, Ahmad was playing well as well.
Yep. The real conversation shouldn't be pen or not, but whether it was enough conclusive evidence to overturn the call. I saw a pull and embellishing. And that's the thing. Yeah. None of us we can all give an opinion on what we think, but none of us know until we hear the audio. And this is why for a long time I've said we need to hear the audio as an example. But what I will say about that point today, that point does put Man United as it stands 13 points above the relegation zone and then we play Ipswich soon. It's a big 6-pointer, on Wednesday. So we win that. We might put ourselves 16 points clear of relegation. That will be with 11 games to go. So I would say we're safe if we pick up that win. Personally, so because I actually can't see the teams, I can't see Ipswich or Leicester getting 40 points, so I think we are okay. But look, people, we're going to be back live after Arsenal, West Ham, and Ipswich, Tottenham. So come and join us. This video is going to redirect you to Hassam's watch along. So go and support my brother over there. Thank you, Mo, KJ, for coming on. To all of our viewers, all of our super chatters, you're amazing. Until next time, take care, goodbye, God bless, and we'll see you all again soon. Peace.